Alabama and South Carolina face off against one another on Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium on Saturday. The Crimson Tide leads the all-time series with 13 wins to just 3 losses. Despite being in the same conference since 1990, Alabama and South Carolina have only played 9 times in the past 35 years and just once since 2010.
That matchup happened back in 2019 in Columbia. Tua Tagovailoa led the Crimson Tide to a 47-23 victory over South Carolina in Williams-Brice Stadium. South Carolina enters this year's matchup 3-2 overall with a 1-2 record in the SEC. The Gamecocks have a 7-game losing streak against ranked opponents, but led 16th-ranked LSU late into the fourth quarter in Week 3 when the Tigers scored the go-ahead touchdown with just over a minute to play. The Gamecocks had a chance to tie the game, but Alex Herrera's 49-yard field goal attempt floated just to the left of the upright as LSU hung on for the 36-33 win. South Carolina ranks near the bottom of the SEC in almost every category offensively, as the Gamecocks average 28 points per game compared to over 44 for the Crimson Tide. Alabama also averages over 100 yards of total offense more than South Carolina. The Gamecocks offense has also allowed the most sacks in college football this season with 22 through 5 games. South Carolina has used 2 quarterbacks for the majority of the season, Lenore Sellers and former Auburn quarterback Robbie Ashford. Sellers has been the primary signal caller and handled every pass attempt last week against Ole Miss. On the season, Sellers has thrown for 555 yards in the 4 games he's played, with 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Raheem Sanders is top 10 in the SEC in most rushing categories as he leads the team with 315 yards on the ground. Sellers is second with 200, and Robbie Ashford is just behind him with 172 rushing yards on the season. The strength of the South Carolina team has been the defense, primarily up front. Kyle Kennard leads the SEC in both sacks and tackles for loss. Kennard has recorded 5.5 sacks and 8.5 tackles for loss. Joining Kennard up front is freshman Dylan Stewart, and he has been a force as well with 8.5 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, and is tied for the SEC lead with Kennard and several others with 2 forced fumbles. South Carolina is 6th in the SEC in total defense, allowing just 296 yards per game, 40 yards per game better than Alabama, and is allowing just 19 points per game, 1 better than the Crimson Tide. It will also be a homecoming for former Crimson Tide quarterback and head coach Mike Shula as he returns to Bryant-Denny Stadium as a senior offensive analyst for South Carolina. In his best season as the Crimson Tide head coach, Shula guided the Tide to a number 8 ranking with a 10-2 record with a victory in the Cotton Bowl. As a player, Shula led the Tide to 2 top 15 finishes, including a dramatic come-from-behind win over number 7 Auburn in the 1985 Iron Bowl, one of the most memorable wins in Iron Bowl history.
He made it!
Kickoff for Alabama and South Carolina is scheduled for 11 o'clock. The game will be broadcast on ABC. Reporting from the Crimson Tide production studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, I'm Christopher England with Tide TV.